So Steve's been working on this bathroom. He got the wall up a couple days ago and he put a first layer of mud on all the seams, and he came by last night and put a second coat on the seams from the ceiling down. You can see that that's still a little wet now. It still has to dry, and there's still a few more passes to make. I think he's got to put a little more over that patch where the wall switch was right here. So that needs a little more work, and a couple more spots up here on the ceiling. He's been working on the spot around the air vent, so he needs to flare that out just a little bit more. And the last thing to do is the edges against the shower, so he needs to blend in that area right there. So that's where the tiles meets the sheetrock. So same thing on this side. That's the last spot that needs a little bit of blending. So we're almost done with this room. We have our shower wall for the enclosure. It's already been ordered and we're just waiting for it to come in. They said 5 to 6 weeks. So we're about 3 weeks in. So before long that'll get installed. And then we can get this painted and get the vanity put in right there, and the sink, the mirror, and the wall sconces, and then over here we can mount the toilet, and we'll be good to go using the downstairs bathroom. Can't wait for that. That's going to be a big thing to have that up and running. Saves a lot of walking up and down the stairs to the second floor. We also pulled all the molding off the windows because we're going to change that out as well. So there was a lot of ridges from the paint and the wallpaper, so we got that all sanded smooth, so it's a nice transition from the wall to the casing, where the casing will be mounted on this edge here. So that's all set. So this is the window by the driveway. That's all set. We also have another window facing the front of the house that's been stripped of its casing. Same treatment. All the paint marks and wallpaper ridges have all been removed, and all the framing that's in there's been sanded, so it's a nice flat surface to mount the new casing on, and it should transition nicely up against the sheetrock. We're actually going wider than what we cleaned, so the new casing will probably come out about to here, way past any of this stuff. We also did the doorway. This leads to the front steps, so we took off the casing on that and the doorstop, which went right up the middle of it, and we pulled the hinges. So there was just a bifold doors. There was a hinge there, and there was a hinge on this side, and another one down here. So we're gonna have to fill in those cutouts for the hinges. I'm gonna fill those in and make those flat with like the rest of the wood, so it's a nice smooth transition. And got one here to do, and another one way down here. So that's going to be my project for tomorrow. Let's get those fixed up. So you can see how this one's pretty good. So what I'll do is I'll probably take a shim, glue it in there, and then backfill it with some putty and then sand it flat, and I think that should be fine. This side's going to be a little tougher because it's a little rougher of an edge that I'm starting with. But we'll get them all straightened out. So we're going to make this part here where the hinge looks just like it does on this side here. Nice flat and square edge. So we're going to do that. That's my project. Coming up as soon as possible. So I've been working on these hinges that I'm trying to backfill. Yesterday I glued in some blocks, and then that was dry. So when I got home last night, I put some filler in the areas where the blocks didn't make it all the way to the edge, where there was a little gap. So I just got done seeing the net. I need a little more right there. And there's a couple of spots here and there. Like up there's a little nail hole. Got to fill right there. That's got a little bit to go. On the adjacent one over here, same thing. I got 2 nail holes to fill in. And this needs a little bit more right around here. And right there in that little spot right there. Same thing on this side. I got to fill that gap in a little bit more. So it's a matter of doing finesse work we're pretty good all the way down. Let's look at this one on the bottom. This one looks like it needs a little bit more. There was a crack, and what I did was I pried it open with a little tiny toothpick, and I got some glue in there. So that's glued now. I can fill that back in. There's a little blemish right there that needs some more work. A little nail hole. And then over on this side, this one's the best of them all. This one looks pretty good. But I'll look at that closely and see if there's anything else I need to touch up. Usually takes a couple of passes before you get it just the way you want it. Like this edge here on the casing edge looks pretty good. So just going to finesse it a little bit more. And this will set it up so when the molding is put back on, you know, it'll look good. You know, there won't be those big old gouged out areas for the hinges anymore. Today's the day. My hair's too long, my beard's too big. I gotta trim this all back for the warmer weather. That way I'll be a lot more comfortable. So I'm gonna run in there, get that done, and I'll be back in a couple minutes. A few moments later. Just got out of the barber. Here you go. Here's the cut. I think it looks a lot better, and it's gonna be way cooler in this hot weather. So I did some sanding and some touch up and some sanding, and I got these pretty much where I need them. I have one spot over here on this left hinge, right here. I had to put a little bit more of the filler. I'm gonna let that dry and I'll sand it tomorrow. And also down on this bottom one. This one needed a little more filling, so that'll be dry and I'll sand that tomorrow and I should be all set. So that's a pretty good deal. I think they came out pretty nice. Once the paint's on them, you're not even going to know that there was a hinge there. I also touched up around the windows, so I filled all the nail holes in on the framing, you know, that holds the window up, and I also backfilled some of the spots, like right there, where there was some holes from the finish nails into the plaster. So I kind of backfilled all the craters from that. Now there's no holes in the wall where the finish nails went through the plaster and lath. So it's a nice clean look. It's a little more than I really needed to do because the molding's going to cover it. But I didn't want a cold air entry point to come in around there and cause any issues with humidity and the casing. I also did the same thing over here. Filled the nail holes in the wood against the vinyl window. And there were some areas where the plaster would come off, like right there, and right there. A bunch of places where the finish nails went into the plaster and kind of cratered it. So I patched it up as best it could be patched. Molding's just going to go over it, but I wanted to kind of clean it up so it looked like it had a little care and love put into it. So I'm off to work, and I'll see you next time.